Hello, and welcome to Fandom Access Memory. Today, the two greatest critics of our time, Niso and Bear, discuss their philosophically flawed rating systems, or lack thereof. They also discuss their picks for most technically proficient horror movie, and their vision for what this podcast is even about. Thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Fan the Podcast, where he who records the podcast controls the universe. My name's Bear.
My name is Niso.
Hi, Niso. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
Good. I'm good. All right. Thank you all for joining us, everybody. Tune in next week for another brand new episode of Fan the Podcast. Okay, anyway. Wow. That is a really stupid bit.
A good one, though.
Yeah, thanks.
We'll just use it in the next episode. If they don't like this episode, it might be better next episode.
It might be better.
We'll just keep reusing it until someone laughs.
So pity laugh, please.
Please laugh. I made joke funny.
So I don't know what I'm going to title this episode yet because it comes to me in a flash of divine inspiration as I'm editing. Mm-hmm. However, the conversation for this episode is probably going to be less pointed or less focused than it was in the previous two episodes. We've been doing review episodes a couple times here, and we're probably going to continue to do that quite a bit because that's something that we enjoy talking about. But we kind of want to talk briefly for this episode about our rating systems because I think that's an important conversation to have. And Niso and I have some, we'll say, philosophical differences about rating. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about what we want the podcast to look like and stuff later on. So after our little interlude bit, we'll talk about kind of what we want to see out of the podcast and some ideas. We'll just kind of bandy them about. So if you're not into kind of more unfocused podcast discussions, you've been warned. But here we go. So before we talk about anything else, I want to kind of just go over when you rate a movie. Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll start here. When you and I talk about it, I always talk about, okay, what do you rate this movie, or what's your rating for this movie?
Yeah. What
is your position on where you start with that kind of shit? Because I can talk about how I do it, but I want to hear how you do it.
I mean, I guess it just, the core of it probably starts at how much I like the movie, obviously. Mm-hmm. How did I enjoy the movie?
Right.
I mean, obviously that gets the ball rolling, but then there's more to that, because there are different aspects of filmmaking that make something good and something bad, obviously. So, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like a movie like The Godfather, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Known as one of the greatest movies of all time. People give that a 9, 10 out of 10, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then it's I watched The Godfather, yeah, I really like that movie. The movie was pretty good. And obviously there are some awesome moments of expertise filmmaking and throughout this, and along with the acting and the directing and the script, everything towards that, the set design, everything was that. It's a very well produced movie. Everything from beginning to end is awesome. But it's I wouldn't call it my favorite movie, but that doesn't make it not necessarily not a 10 out of 10. If I were that movie's a 10 out of 10, and we're oh, is Godfather your favorite movie? It's oh no, it's not even in my top 10 favorite movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just when debating, it just giving it a number like that, it makes me contemplate, because there's two scales. It's how much you like the movie, and then was the movie actually good? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because we love Birdemic. Give it a 10 out of 10.
That does not make it a good movie.
Yeah.
But we genuinely love it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's I would totally sit down and watch Birdemic. Honestly, probably before I sit down and watch The Godfather. Only because The Godfather is 3 hours long, and Birdemic I can turn off my mind and just have fun. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's two completely different tones. Yeah. Although it's just I don't think Birdemic is a better movie than The Godfather.
Right.
But I like Birdemic a lot. I wouldn't say I like it more than The Godfather, but you know what I mean.
Right. I mean, I will say I like it more than The Godfather.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're talking about just to share a little bit about how I do this, right? Like when you're talking about The Godfather or whatever, or Birdemic, like, okay, so here's like where I start with the philosophy of it, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna be real up my own ass, which is kind of how this podcast is just gonna go.
Yeah, it's right at home.
This is very on brand. So when my philosophy of it is there's no such thing as pure objectivity, right? I mean, I can't objectively say a movie is good or bad. I can give examples. I can give things that I want to put forth as this is a good movie because of X, Y, and Z. But obviously, I come from a certain background of experiences and biases that I can never truly escape from. Okay. I have a very postmodern sensibility when it comes to that.
Okay.
So when I approach reviewing a movie, or when I approach rating a movie, which I do every movie I watch, I rate it. I always give myself the benefit of the doubt to say my rating is going to be subjective. I can't objectively rate a movie. So just to give you the like nuts and bolts of how I rate a movie, just for y'all at home, I think I've told you, Niso, about this before.
Yeah.
But just to give y'all at home, like the nuts and bolts of how I rate a movie, I start off with a 5 with every movie. If I liked the movie, it gets more than a 5. If I didn't like the movie, it gets less than a 5. And then from there, I go up or down. If I didn't like it, or if I can't decide whether I liked it or didn't like it, it gets a 5. Then if I thought it was a perfect movie, it gets a 10. If I thought it was a horrible movie, it gets a 1. I'm not afraid to go to those extremes, right? But I do go to those extremes. Like, I have a fairly good bell curve of my reviews for things. I start with a 5. And then I'll give it extra points, if I feel like it was a well done movie, or like well shot, or the sound design was good.
Like the type of production style of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll say something like The Shawshank Redemption. Okay. If I were giving it purely an enjoyment score, it would be an 8. Because I really enjoyed the movie, which is an 8 is really high for me. And then it got 2 extra points because of how well the cinematography was done and how well the characterization and character building was done.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, okay, there's nothing that I can objectively see, quote unquote, objectively see that's wrong with this movie. So I think it deserves a 10. Or something like Return of the King. My enjoyment of it was so high that it pushed it up to a 10. Do I think it's a perfect movie? Probably not. But because my subjective experience of enjoying it was so high, it got a 10. Now, you may be thinking, you at home, hi, you at home, what are you doing right now? Are you running? Are you going to the grocery store? Your living room furniture looks great from the lawn, by the way.
You smell different when you're awake.
Yes, please. Anyway, you may be thinking, okay, well, what use is that to me? And the answer is probably not a lot. But it communicates to you how much I enjoyed the movie and what I thought of it.
Sure. So the only thing that like comes with that is that, so then when you go tell somebody, oh yeah, Shawshank Redemption is an 8 out of 10 for me, but you haven't explained that person your objective scale, because that scale is obviously objective to you and how you create that.
Subjective.
You know what I mean? Sorry, subjective.
Yeah, subjective.
I'm just really good at vocabulary, so.
Hey, you're using 3-syllable words, which in the test episode was a stretch.
I know. I mean, I'm getting like some $5 words in here.
We keep talking about the test episode. We need to just release it.
I know. Or maybe we could just talk about it for years and never release.
We can just
remember back in the test episode that nobody's heard.
You remember back in the test episode where we just made out for like 10 minutes? That was weird, right?
Yeah, honestly, we could say whatever we want about the test episode because nobody's heard it.
All right, that's the new bit. That's the new bit. We talk about the test episode every time. Every episode we talk about it.
Yeah, test episode.
Like this time it's that we made out for 10 minutes.
Yeah, we add a little bit more lore to that test episode.
Absolutely, yeah. Lost footage. Wow. Anyway. Yeah, I know that it's subjective to me, but again, like I think that even somebody who's like, oh, my rating system is pretty objective, I think that there's a subjective.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if they come back to to me and say, you know, I rated this thing a 7 because of all of these objective things, to me, that's still a subjective experience for them. You know, I may disagree with them for certain reasons. And it kind of goes back to things we had talked about in the past of like personal biases and stuff like that. Obviously, I have a bias towards really good characterization, really good script writing, really good interpersonal experience between characters, whereas you may not have that experience.
Yeah,
you know,
everyone has a different taste in what they prefer in that movie.
Yeah,
and it's the same thing. It's kind of like if you just think of it as a broader spectrum of like how people judge art in general. Like everybody has their own view, perspective, or way they feel about certain thing. Like there's no set in stone answer about any said art or any said film. You know what I mean? There's no answer for what they say. Even if the director says so, I mean, you release that out to everybody so everybody can have their own opinion about whatever it is. There's no answer, even if I think the director says so.
Yeah. I was looking up some of my star ratings so I could give some examples here, and maybe we can talk about some of yours too, like to go through your thought process of watching things.
Sure.
So during this last October, I did something that I like to call Horrortoberfest. Other content creators do this as well, where they watch one scary movie every day for October and give them all ratings. So I'm definitely going to do that again this year, and I'm going to make you watch some horror movies.
Yes, no, I definitely want to do that too. Like when you did that, I was very like envious. I was like, man, I wish I had done that, because by the time that I had really realized, it was already like October 12th, and I was like, God damn it!
Oh, for sure.
I've already lost my opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, horror is one of my favorite genres anyway. My partner and I almost always watch horror. Like, it's just something that we do together. If I'm going to choose a movie to watch, it's going to be a bad horror movie just because I can make fun of it and nobody cares about it. But, so, like, there's a movie called The Other Lamb, okay? I won't give a full review of it. It's not really worth it. I gave it a 3.5 stars, so that would be 7.
Out of 3.5 stars out of 10?
Out of 5.
Oh, out of 5.
Yeah. I used an app called Letterboxd. It has a 5-star rating, so I never give 0.5s. I always give my rating out of 10, and then I translate that to stars, so it's 3.5, which makes it 7.
Yep.
For my enjoyment of the movie as a horror movie, I felt like it was an 8. It was pretty good. Okay. That's really high for me for horror movies. As much as I enjoy watching them, they almost never get above a 7. But I brought it down one as I like, okay, so I watched the movie. I was like, I enjoy this enough to give it an 8. And then I was like, okay, let me take a step back as much as I can for a second and say, was there anything that was like wrong with this movie, technically or whatever? And as I started thinking about it again, I was like, okay, well, if I were looking at it from as objective a standpoint as possible, I could say that some of the characters were just not fleshed out as much as I would like to see. So then that brought it down 1 star. And that's it, you know? So, like, I can talk somebody through that experience of rating it, but obviously, like you said, you have to know the person's biases and the person's, like, review process in order to fully understand where they're coming from. Yeah. So that's part of why I wanted to have this conversation anyway. Yeah. But so yeah, anyway, give me an example of a movie you're like rating if you want to, and then like talk me through how you approach it so we just know where we're starting from.
So like, do you know Jeremy Johns on YouTube? He does movie reviews. No. Okay. So the way he rates a movie, he just has like his own system that he created. He says like if the movie is like top notch, if it goes in his top tier category.
I was just thinking to the last episode where you went slurp. I was taking a drink and I was kind of expecting you to do that again. Oh, I forgot. As I was editing that, I clipped it out as an audio file and I have it just sitting on my desktop for when I needed to smile.
Make it my ringtone. Or your ringtone for me.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Jeremy Johns.
Yeah, so Jeremy Johns, the way he like, it's almost like a tier system kind of, but he just names it differently. Like if it's the top tier, he puts it in the awesome-tacular category. Okay. And so it's the same thing. Like I think another one is like pretty good, probably better while drunk or something. or another one is like pretty good, we'll watch again or something, or would buy it on Blu-ray. Like those are his. That's the way he rates the system. Right. It's never like a 1 through 10 or like a Chris Stuckman does it in the sense of like A through F, the same way you would like grade a paper or something.
And just as a side note, all of these, if we ever talk about like, YouTube channels or anything like that, I will link them in the show notes for you. So you don't have to worry about copying it down. It's in the show notes for you.
So he rates a system like A plus, A minus, B plus, the same way you would like get graded in school.
Yeah.
On those, which I like that system as well. It gives like a lot of options to like how to rate a system. I don't know. It just feels more or less defined. You know what I mean? Because like I give Guardians of the Galaxy an 8, and then I give like Shawshank Redemption an 8. It's like, well, Shawshank Redemption is like this renowned movie nominated for like several Oscars, and you're comparing it to Guardians of the Galaxy. You think that's on the same level? It's like, well, fuck you. Yes, I do, but also like it you know what I mean? Like it shouldn't matter, but also it just helps me and my brain not group it in that same way. You know what I mean? Like if I say something, oh yeah, that's awesome-tacular. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you really like this movie then, don't you? Yeah. You know what I mean? So typically when someone asks like what I think of a movie, I never really give it like a rating. I'm always just like, yeah, I liked it a lot. Yeah. Or I don't know. I need to find a rating system that I can feel comfortable with. But I like the idea of just kind of having like tiers, and then it's just kind of all grouped in that category.
We'll just make a rating system for you right now.
Okay.
Let's figure this out.
Okay.
So if you don't like a movie, what's something you really don't like? Like a food you really don't like?
A food?
Or like a person, like bear?
Yes, so bear.
Okay. So if it's bear tier, then it is like the worst thing possible.
Okay. Oh. We should switch it.
Okay.
Bear tier is top tier.
No, I don't think so. Anyway, so let's figure this out. Okay. I was going to say something real quick just in response to that. I've gotten a lot of people who are like, well, I prefer those kinds of rating systems where it's words instead of numbers, because I don't know why people get hung up on numbers a lot. Like if it's a number system, I understand what you're saying about like Guardians of the Galaxy being an 8 versus Shawshank Redemption being an 8. I've had movies like that for sure. Like I like a really good example was Alien, the original Alien.
Yep.
I think got a 7 out of 10 from me, just because like technically it's a very good movie, but I didn't enjoy it a huge amount. And then I watched Real Steel with Hugh Jackman right afterwards, and I gave it a 9, and it got 2 extra points for how much I enjoyed it without expecting to.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do I really think that Alien is a worse movie than Real Steel? No, because my reviews are subjective.
Yeah.
So it's like to me, using numbers is helpful, but obviously I don't think that Real Steel is a better movie than Alien.
Sure.
I just enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
So like, for me, using numbers is the same thing as using a description scale. I also use quote unquote a description scale because I made a podcast to talk about movies and shit.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah, exactly
what it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, so let's make your rating scale.
Okay.
So,
sure.
So absolutely.
How many tiers do you think there should be? Like 5?
How many tiers do you want there to be? 27.
Yeah, we'll go 27 tiers.
Okay, this is going to be a 4-hour
12 Days of Christmas tiers.
Oh. Ooh. Okay.
Like we go...
That's going to be a lot of thinking.
That's too much.
I just woke up. That's going to be a lot of thinking.
It was a fun idea, but pass.
Okay. So 5.
Let's do 5. Sure.
Okay.
All right. So bottom tier.
S tier.
S tier.
Yeah,
okay.
We'll start off with S tier.
Okay, we'll start out with S tier.
S tier. Let's see. You really like Spider-Man.
Yeah. We'll put it in the Spider-Man.
Well, put it in the Spider-Man's abs.
Spider-Man's abs. Yeah, yes,
because that's the only thing that gets your jollies off.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man's abs is your top tier. Then let's go to A.
Okay.
So like an A tier movie.
Okay. So an A tier movie from like. Sorry, am I trying to think of an A tier movie or a title for the A tier?
I don't know what we're doing now.
Okay.
Is this a bit? Is this what we're doing?
I genuinely don't know. Just trying to figure out this damn system. So we got Spider-Man's abs.
Right. Spider-Man's abs is S. Well, let's do it phonetically. Spider-Man's abs.
Spider-Man's abs.
That's going to sound really good on the mic.
That is.
Spider-Man's abs.
Spider-Man's abs.
And then A is asshole of Spider-Man?
Asshole of Spider-Man, sure. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, B, butthole of Spider-Man.
We'll do butt cheeks of Spider-Man.
Butt cheeks.
Because asshole's kind of the same, but it's basically the same.
But asshole's better, though. Obviously.
Asshole's better, naturally. So we'll do butt cheeks of Spider-Man.
My mom is wanting to watch and listen to this podcast. Hi, Mom.
Mine too, eh, Mom?
And then, so for C...
Yeah.
Carotid artery of Spider-Man.
The
chest
of Spider-Man. Chesticles
of Spider-Man.
Well, this feels like, because I don't think it's the tier is we're just going by the lettering system. So I guess chest it would be like on the lower half because now we're on that'd be the fourth tier.
I mean, it depends on what gets you off the most.
I know. I feel like a chest would be a little bit higher.
Really?
I think so.
Are we going to the interlude now? Shall we debate whether Spider-Man's asshole or chest is better?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. What do you think is you would?
This is not a conversation I necessarily want to have right now with you.
Yeah, we'll pass on that one. We'll just keep it at chest. That's 14.
Yeah, and I mean, in the test episode, we talked about what we found attractive on each other. Mm-hmm. So we've already kind of had this conversation. Yeah. So,
of course, yeah. So the D tier, we'll just leave it at the D tier.
when Niso, this is great podcasting. When Niso said the D tier, I just gave him like So we'll just leave that at the D tier. And then E tier.
Eyes. No.
Eyes? You don't like eyes?
Well, ears.
Ears.
Yeah,
okay. Ears. Wait, so the D tier is D?
Well, no, we could do the D tier like a dump.
Spider-Man's. You like Spider-Man's dump more than you like Spider-Man's ears?
It's weird, man. I know.
All right. Well, join us on the bonus content when we get a Patreon. We're gonna have Fandom Access Memory After Dark. We're gonna talk about why Niso likes Spider-Man's dumps more than Spider-Man's ears. Let's get back to rating systems, though.
Okay.
So do you want to do like a tier system and just be like? I mean, obviously you have a platform here where you can talk about it.
Sure. I mean, I like the idea of like having like that tier system of like, oh yeah, this falls in, Spider-Man's abs.
Welcome, one and all, to the Interlude.
All right, well, we're going to take a little break now. We're not going anywhere, but...
Is that old yet?
It
will never be.
It'll never be old. It just caught me off guard so much in the test episode that I wanted to make it a thing. So I want to know what you think is unequivocally the technically best horror movie.
I know
you don't watch a lot of horror movies, but
yeah, I do have an immediate answer just because this is also you said technically best.
Like cinematography, sound design, like the best made horror movie. Because I have a lot of bullshit answers for what I enjoy the most, but that's not helpful.
Yeah, it's taking me off. Well, one of my favorite movies in general is Hereditary. And I think that is also one of the best horror movies I've ever seen. And
we're going to get a lot of hate for that, by the way.
I know. A
lot of people hated that movie.
I know. Like, people were laughing in the theater that I was in. Like, seriously. Like, people were, like, laughing out loud during the movie.
Should we do a review of Hereditary?
Sure.
Because we seem to be the only people who love that movie.
Apparently so. We could do Midsommar as well.
Yeah, we could do an Ari Aster special.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's do that.
And he has a lot of shorts, too, that we could watch, too, just to, like...
Oh, I would love to watch Ari Aster shorts.
He has a lot of shorts. I like to see him in shorts.
S tier, A tier, Ari Aster shorts.
Ari Aster shorts. That's good. Okay, we got Spider-Man's abs and Ari Aster shorts.
Okay.
That's A and B. Or no, that's S and B. A. Fucking moron. All right, I got the top two tiers down.
Okay. Anyway.
I'll write it down so that way I don't forget my tier list. So
okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. But
this is a good time to do that.
Yeah, this is the perfect time. Spider-Man's abs, Ari Aster's shorts.
Man, this episode's gonna be poorly rated.
It's whatever.
It's fine.
Yeah, I don't care. But like everything from like a cinematography standpoint, a score standpoint, I listen to that score often. Like I listen to a lot of movie scores, but that one is definitely I refer back to a lot.
I made the like zipping my lips closed thing because now that we're going to do an episode on it, I don't want to like explode all over the mic about this one. But
yeah, but the acting in it is incredible.
Phenomenal.
Toni Collette absolutely should have won Best Leading Actress, but she wasn't even nominated for an Oscar. She was so good in that movie. Oh,
yeah. The only person I don't like is the son.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't feel like I feel like his performance. Well, we'll talk about this later.
Sure, we can talk about it later for sure.
We'll talk about it later.
But from a whole standpoint, is that the editing in that film.
So is that your answer then? Like Hereditary is technically the best horror film? It's fine if it is. I just was curious as to what you thought.
It was the first movie that came to my head when you said that. As soon as you said that, I went Hereditary. That was the very first thing. Although I don't know if that doesn't seem fair because there's so many biases that are going into that.
Oh, for sure.
So
and again, you don't watch a huge amount of horror movies.
Also,
so like,
yeah,
I've watched
also
a lot
that.
more horror movies.
Exactly. So, well, then I'll just pass it on to you. What do you think the answer to that is?
So, this is a really tough question for me because, again, I don't rate horror movies very highly, even though I love them. Mm-hmm. I also have certain biases towards certain types of horror. So, like, if I were thinking of a couple of examples of, like, really well-lauded horror movies in the past, like Halloween would be one of them. Have you ever watched Halloween?
The original Halloween?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you have seen
yes.
with Michael Myers.
Yeah. I also saw the 2018 redo.
Which I have not seen that.
Yeah.
I heard fairly good things about it.
It was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
I would probably like it now because I really did like Halloween. But for movies like that or like Friday the 13th, like
classics.
I don't find serial killer Halloween movies or horror movies to be that compelling.
Okay.
So a lot of the big ones like Hush is a very like kind of a sleeper hit.
Yeah.
Anything with a serial killer doesn't really get me.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah. Because like once you like kind of, I don't know.
It's like it's a person.
Yeah.
Like I understand that for some people, I understand that is actually more frightening, but to me, it just doesn't do it.
Which I guess so. The point of a horror movie is to scare you. You're supposed to be scared during a horror movie, which is also a reason why I chose Hereditary because that movie chilled me to the bone. Like I was I thought about that movie for like a couple months after because it like seriously freaked me out.
Yeah.
But
for me too.
Yeah. So I mean, so in that same sense, like the horror movie like can be really good, but it has to also scare you in some sense. Like there's got to be a level of fear that was added to that. For sure. So I mean, obviously that part of it is clearly subjective as well. Like somebody's probably afraid of spiders deathly, like I am afraid of spiders, but it like if I see one on screen, I'll be all right. Like someone's least favorite horror movie or like their scariest horror movie is like Chamber of Secrets because of the spider in the movie. You know what I mean?
I will say, though, I am actually phobic of water that I can't see into, and it is really hard for me to watch movies like Underwater.
Yeah.
I've not seen Underwater yet, which I should because I will be crying during it.
I am that same way. Anything underwater, immediate panic. Like, it's just like...
It's really bad. Like, I played a game called Call of Cthulhu, and there was a moment in the game where you're kind of wading through, like, water in a cave, and then something comes swimming at you really quickly. And I had an actual moment of a panic attack on camera because of that.
Oh my goodness.
Like, it was bad.
No, there was an episode, there's a little small part of the Clone Wars, season 4, or maybe 3. They start in the Atlantean subsurface, so they're with like the, I forget what their race is called, but It's a trap. What's his name?
Oh, Akbar.
Yeah, Admiral Akbar.
The calamarians.
Yeah, yes.
Mon calamari.
Yeah.
Because
there's
calamari and squid.
Yeah,
it's
very
really
creative name.
Good job, guys. A+, 10 out of 10.
But
5 out of 7.
There was a whole there was 4 episodes where they were all underwater, and I genuinely skipped over it I rewatched the show. I've seen the show a couple times through, and I had never seen that before because I started the episode and we were underwater. I was like, I can't watch this. It genuinely freaked me out.
Wow.
And
But I didn't know this about you.
Eventually, I got around to it, and they're honestly pretty good episodes. But it's seriously there's a couple moments when it's just in the dark, and it's animated as cartoon, and it's I love these characters, but it freaked me out. I literally couldn't watch it.
You and I should play through Subnautica. You ever heard of Subnautica?
No. Yes, I do. I know exactly.
Do some Let's Plays. Let's do that.
Sure.
We'll do it as
you'll have to force me, but yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. I'll force you.
Okay.
Anyway, going back to my question. As far as best technically done horror movie, honestly, Alien is up there. Mm-hmm. And which is so funny because I gave it a 7.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a huge fan of old movies.
Yeah.
But I think Alien is really well done. Have you ever watched the original Alien?
I've never seen the original Alien.
It's really good. I won't spoil it for you, but there's a whole lot to enjoy about it. The cinematography is great. The art design is great. I think the art director was H.R. Geiger for all of the Alien movies. You know H.R. Geiger?
I do not.
Oh, that is a rabbit hole that we will have to go down.
Okay,
my good sir. Yeah, he was a very famous artist who did a lot of very horrific artworks, but we'll go there. Yeah, so I think that's definitely my thing. Not really a whole lot of argument in this interlude, but we don't have to always argue, you know.
I mean, there is with Alien actually, Marvel Comics just released issue 1 of Alien, the comic book.
Oh, really?
I don't know if it's going to be a mini series or if it's a full-on series. I don't know, but I picked up the first issue.
Okay, I'll have to borrow that.
I think it came out last week. It should be still on the shelves, I believe, but I haven't read it yet, but I'm excited to, and I also really need to get around to watching that movie. Yeah. I think I've seen the third one or something.
Alien
Resurrection?
Alien Resurrection.
Is that what it is?
There's Alien Resurrection, and then there's Prometheus, and then there's Alien Covenant.
Is Michael Fassbender a part of that series?
I don't know. Okay. I don't know the series super well. That might be
Prometheus.
That's more my partner's thing. So.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Prometheus is part of that.
It is.
It is? Okay.
Yeah,
then I've seen.
It's technically a prequel to Alien.
I think Danny McBride is in one of them too. I've only saw it once, and it was several years ago, and I'm pretty sure it was a part of that. But I also, yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess that's my answer. Alien. I didn't really think this one through, so I might think later on, oh shit, I actually thought this movie was the best. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so back to your regular scheduled programming.
And now, back to the show.
So we've kind of talked about rating systems. I feel like we've done a lot of talking about it and probably didn't really get anywhere, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's typically where we're going. We'll probably just chase our tails most of the time.
Yeah. I think just to kind of sum it up, for my rating system, I give it a numerical score, and that is a combination of how I felt about it just watching it and also how well I thought the movie was done. Mm-hmm. Which is not very helpful, but that's why I made a podcast, so I could talk about it.
Naturally, yeah. And mine is currently in the making with Spider-Man's abs and Ari Aster's shorts. Still got to figure out the other tiers, but they're on the way.
Right. So we're going to switch gears a little bit and just talk, and again, we've kind of been going back and forth a lot on this episode, but I felt like it was important to talk about kind of our branding, what we want out of the podcast, what we want to see, the types of projects we want to work on. Mm-hmm. So we'll kind of do some plugs for whatever we're working on in our own lives, and kind of talk about the types of things I want to do. So for me, how I see this podcast being is mostly talking about nerd culture. I mean, there's tons of nerd culture podcasts there. I think my particular branding on it is that it's always going to be 2 or more friends talking about things that friends talk about. That was my vision when I started this podcast.
Yeah, just like the conversation between friends.
And it trips me up just as a real moment here, because on r/podcasting and on Reddit, somebody was like, just off the cuff was like, oh, it's in talking about some other podcast, was like, oh, it's just one of those stupid two friends talking about whatever podcast. I was like, oh no.
That's when you just reply to them and just put the link to our podcast. Check this. Oh, if you don't like that, then you should probably check this one out.
You should probably check out Fandom Access Memory.
Yeah,
it's exactly that.
Yeah.
But I think their point was that it's unfocused. So I try to make sure that episodes other than this one are fairly focused.
Sure.
And that we talk about one work, or, you know, we really dive into that work as much as possible. So,
yeah.
And as we go on, I think we'll do better with that too. But I have several other friends and my partner as well who are wanting to do episodes with us. So we'll probably switch up who is in the episodes. Most likely I'll be in all of them unless you want to do some by yourself or with somebody else. That's totally fine.
Just see how whatever happens.
We're just we're fairly new to podcasting, so we're kind of taking it one day at a time and just trying new things. But that being said, if any of you listening want to have any suggestions, have any thoughts or anything, feel free to email us at famthepodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you think. But along with the podcast, I'm currently working on that Twitch channel, and I'm more interested in working on my YouTube channel. There is one bear. So I'm kind of working towards all of those goals at the same time and making them kind of all one brand. So I don't know if you have any thoughts about that. Maybe this will be like a shorter episode, or we'll talk about something else. But I don't know if you have any thoughts about
like the future of the
podcast. Or,
something that I definitely want to talk about more. Obviously, I know we have only briefly touched about it, but I want to do some deep dives on some comic book series that we've done. Because
that's definitely going to be something you lead, because you'll have to tell me what to read and stuff, because I can get you to do deep dives on books and horror movies and stuff, but I don't know shit about comic books. So.
So that's something that I definitely really want to do in the future, just because I feel like that's also kind of like a niche topic, because not a lot of people are reading comic books anymore, at least.
Right.
And so it just kind of brings that around to the surface, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just bringing it to the attention. Because if anybody said, because we mentioned something that somebody is like, oh, that actually sounds pretty interesting, and then they maybe go pick up a comic book, and then all of a sudden it kind of just gets the ball rolling, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just one step at a time. But also, I mean, it's just something I really like.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely be fun. I mean, we're always talking about oh, we should do this for the podcast, or we should do that. So we have some ideas and some goals in mind for things to do. But I mean, at the end of the day, we just want to make something that's entertaining. We want to make something that you all enjoy listening to. So hopefully that's been the case so far, and we're really looking forward to making more of these and jazzed up about making more content. So after we record this, I'm learning how to do video editing so I can start my YouTube channel up and do some video projects, and just trying to make that a reality. So do you have anything else that you want to add, or
we could I don't know,
we could just
play some games.
We could play some games.
I don't know. I don't know.
All right, well, I think that's going to do it for this episode, everybody. Again, thank you for sticking with us with this one. A lot less focused than most of our episodes will be, but it was a conversation that I felt like we needed to have, to be like, hey, remember, go check out this episode for our reviews, how we do reviews. So, and then just kind of brainstorming on Mike talking a little bit about what we wanted to do. So
yeah.
Again, you can email us at famthepodcast at gmail.com. You can also follow our Instagram page at Fandom Access Memory. Please do. I'm going to start posting when we release videos and that sort of thing, so this will be up there. Yeah. But until next time, have a good one.